Did you know that globally around 30% of food, a staggering 1.3 billion tons, is wasted? In New Zealand, we visit organizations that successfully rescue food and distribute it to those in need. How do they do it? We're in Dunedin to meet an organization involved in food rescue, Kiwi Harvest. Each year, the food industry in New Zealand wastes more than 100,000 tons of food. At the same time, 40% of New Zealanders experience some sort of food insecurity. Deborah Manning, the founder of Kiwi Harvest, saw one solution to tackle both problems. She tells us how she got started.
Well, I was working as a lawyer in a law firm here in Dunedin at the bottom of the South Island in New Zealand, and I was looking to put some more social purpose back into my life. And one day I read an article in the newspaper about dumpster divers and how they were able to live off the food that was being thrown away, perfectly good to eat. And on the same page was a story about child poverty and how children weren't having access to fresh fruit and vegetables and didn't have enough food to eat. And I thought, what would happen if we used the problem of food waste to solve the problem of food insecurity? And after doing a bit of research, I found out that the business model was called Food Rescue, and so I left my job as a lawyer and set up Kiwi Harvest and operated Kiwi Harvest out of Dunedin, out of the back of my car for the first 6 months, and then got some funding from local grants, and it just grew from there, and now we've got branches all over the country.
We get to see firsthand how Kiwi Harvest works. Deborah explains.
Kiwi Harvest is a food rescue organisation. We collect food that's good enough to eat but not to sell, and we distribute it to community organisations feeding people in need locally, and we also divert that food that was probably destined for landfill and put it to its primary use, which is to feed people. We collect from a wide variety of organisations, some smaller ones and some large ones. So we collect from growers and manufacturers, restaurants, caterers, coffee shops, cafes and supermarkets. Our food usually comes back to our branch warehouses, where it is sorted by volunteers and our Kiwi Harvest staff, and then it's reallocated to those community organisations that we give the food to for free on a needs basis. They tell us what they need and we allocate according to quantity and food type to them. Well, at Kiwi Harvest we've always been very clear that we are not a social service organisation. We don't provide services that help people rise out of poverty. That's a very specialised type of service that is given in the community. We are a distributor, a collector and a distributor of food. So we choose organisations that work in the community that have food programs. That might be food parcels, that might be education programs, that might be community meals, and also have other wraparound services to help people. So there might be addiction counselling, counselling on employment issues and things like that. We let them do their job, and they're really good at their job, and we tend to just stick to the job that we are good at, and that's collecting and distributing food. Well, across New Zealand, all of our branches, we've got 5 branches, we collect and distribute each month around about 200,000 kilograms of food and distribute that back into the community. That creates approximately 600,000 or 700,000 meals for people in need, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for the food that is being wasted. There is so much more out there that we are not even able to access to collect.
Deborah saw another opportunity to rescue even more food.
No facility was large enough to take 200 or 300 pallets of food at a time. So I decided what we needed was that very system, and I set about trying to convince people that we needed warehouses in the North Island and warehouses in the South Island that could aggregate large volumes of food and then pass it on to organisations like Kiwi Harvest and other large food banks and other food rescues around the country so that they could then distribute it further down into their community. I got funding for that eventually, and the New Zealand Food Network was established about a year ago now, and we have our big warehouse in Auckland and another one opening in Christchurch this month.
Of course, we're eager to see that too.
We are in the south of Auckland today to visit the New Zealand Food Network and learn how they reduce food waste and help those who are food insecure.
CEO Gavin Findlay explains what they do.
The New Zealand Food Network, in essence, is a solution to some of the very large surplus food that's within the food supply chain, whether it be manufactured or grown, where previously it would just go to landfill because there was no entity with the storage capability or the distribution capability to handle it. When I say large, I'm talking about 200 pallets of product or tens of tons of tomatoes or vegetables that would otherwise just go to landfill. So we designed the system to be easy for those manufacturers and growers to donate that product to us, and through our logistics channels get it out to about 50 food hubs throughout New Zealand who work with people who are struggling with food. So really simple, lots of food here, lots of need here, and we connect the two. So everything that you're going to see here is surplus food. Surplus for one reason or another.
In the warehouse, large quantities of food arrive that is mislabeled, close to its sell-by date, or considered imperfect.
So, tins of apples, so these are all sickened. These are all not fit for sale.
They look perfect.
No, now let me tell you why this is. Okay? Because of this. Every single apple in the Turners and Growers empire has 13 photographs taken of it. And it's looking for sunspot blemishes. It's looking for little marks on here. And these are all then all of the adverse ones, and then the pocket opens up and it gets dropped into different bins for different things. Yeah. So these get tipped into the hopper there and putting it into pallets.
Yes.
So we get 28 boxes per pallet, so 420 kgs per pallet. And then it will get stored. And then when the orders come in through the portal, it'll be, I want 10 cartons of apples and 15 cartons of carrots and 20 cartons of it, and somebody will then go and pick that to create a mixed pallet. We wrap it up, slap the stickers on, and off it goes.
Off it goes, you mean then?
Transport comes in.
Transport comes in right here.
Right in here.
Yes.
So this is our delivery and exit platform. Comes in here, back.
Thanks to its cooperation with many growers and producers, New Zealand Food Network has achieved remarkable success.
We've been operating since the 27th of July 2020, just kind of in the middle of COVID. We started, and we've just transacted over 3 million kilograms, so 3,000 tons of product. But to put that in context, the last survey that was done in the food supply chain for the commercial sector, which we work in, was 103,000 tons of product surplus produced. So we're only hitting 3% of it. So we've got a long way to go to make a big impact to stop this food getting put in landfill.
Rescuing food from landfill also has environmental benefits.
I call food in landfill an environmental menace. Organic material needs oxygen to degrade properly. When you compact it into big landfills, it produces methane, CH4, which is extraordinarily corrosive. And just a little stat about food waste in landfill. If it was classed as a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gas on the planet. It's disgusting.
Thanks to food rescue organisations like New Zealand Food Network and Kiwi Harvest, hungry mouths around the country are fed and greenhouse gas emissions are avoided. And there are more sustainability benefits. If food is rescued instead of wasted, less food needs to be produced. That would reduce land, water and energy use and packaging materials. We hope to see many food rescue initiatives taken across the world.
Did you like this video?
And want to see more? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on social media, become our patron on Patreon, or subscribe to our email newsletter on our website.